He's a genuine warrior, hey. He is, it's totally inspiring. His book is terrific. Came out of jail, I think last year, and wrote that in a few months after he'd worked it out and his head locked up, and it's a very good read, I recommend it. And now Malcolm, where is my mate Malcolm? Malcolm is a whole other ball game. This is the real deal, and he's no less of a warrior, I can tell you. So he has great stories to tell you, and let me just say, I hope some of you are coming back tomorrow. Everyone except Steve Bolt, the lawyer, will be talking again tomorrow, and Dr. John Tay from Plant Med in Brisbane will be here in his place, and everyone will talk differently. There's plenty to talk about. So think about questions you've got and anything you want. And please ask me if you need help with anything, access to anything, or shy about questions. Malcolm, thanks for coming.
No problem. It's great to be here. Now, who wants to learn how to grow marijuana? Because that's what I do. Okay, so there's a few people who want to learn how to grow. Okay. All right, now, it's a weed, all right? Now, I've just had a discussion with a lady, and I'm sorry, dear, but I'm not going to mention your name. She has just told me that she can't get a seed up out of the pot. And what she's doing is she's giving it water every 2 days. She doesn't need that. Can I have my stuff? Thank you. What you do when you are growing marijuana, you go to the shop which produces the good stuff, which is your hydroponic shop, and you get about $100 worth of this canna peat and canna coconut husk. You mix that 50-50. Canna peat, one of them is peat with a little bit of perlite in it. Their bag's this big, right? So you have to spend your money. You have to spend, it's about 80, 90, $100. I don't know what it is. Because I bought 2 bags a year ago, and I won't tell you how many I've grown, but I can tell you that all you need to do is put them in a pot, 50 in a pot, whatever, and take them out and plant them in the ground when they're ready. And they're ready when they're about this big. Now, here's the go with producing good pot. You need good sunshine. You need to be putting your plants out in the sunshine. It's a weed. It needs sunshine. It needs water. It doesn't need too much water. And as the previous speaker said, the real important time is when it is growing up. Don't give it anything to eat until it is this big. And then just a small amount of either sheep manure. Don't give it any chook manure yet. You give it chook manure when it's this tall, and only 3 or 4 handfuls, because it is a weed, and it will respond to 3 or 4 handfuls of chook shit. Chook manure, I meant. We knew what you meant. We knew what you meant, yeah, okay. So it will, as long as it rains, right? Now, I was here about 3 months ago, and I gave everyone seed, which actually didn't do any good. It didn't do any good at my place because we did not get 1 drop of rain. The ground water, it was way down, 3, 4, 5 feet down. Now, I'm going to go back home, and it's been raining like hell for the last 2 days, and these plants are going to jump from there to there in a week. You don't need to feed them. I haven't fed them. That's what they're going to go. I've given them a little bit of chook manure. Okay, so now there are many, many different types of plant to grow. There are the industrial hemps, the King G. This year I'm going to be making feminized King G seeds for anyone who wants King G. Now, King G, all industrial hemp has a highest level of CBD as the number 1 cannabinoid, but the number 2 cannabinoid is a thing called cannabichromene. That's the number 2. So you've got that much cannabidiol, you've got that much cannabichromene, and you've got that much THC in it. So it's supposed to be anyway. Okay, so now cannabichromene and cannabidiol together are synergistically associated with any anxiety, depression, any head problems. We'll just call it that, okay? So here's what it's. I'll tell you what I think is where I'm going to go for next year's seed, and that is in the jungle produced sativa. In the temperate zones produced industrial hemp. In the desert zones, it produced indica. And in the polar zones, it produced ruderalis. So now, every one of these things, does anyone know what terpenes do? I mean, terpenes are extremely important, I think, in the whole cannabis deal. When you look at on the cannabis plant, you'll see these trichomes, and they are a big, well, they're not big, but if you blow them up to that, there's a big crystal ball sitting on a crystal stalk. There's that much terpenes, there's that much cannabigerolic acid. Okay, so these terpenes are the things which the plant signals. It's insects, it signals other plants, it signals mammals, it signals birds. For example, if you look at Africa and you look at the giraffe and it goes up and eats the, what are those big trees that they eat? The acacias, yeah. So what happens to that acacia is that it goes, my God, I'm being eaten by a giraffe. So it puts out a terpene called ethylene, and every other bloody plant that would be eaten by that giraffe, it now produces ethylene, and the giraffe says, oh, Chip, that's no good. He has to go 400 metres to where there's no terpenes have come through. This is just one thing. If you look at how plants are grown, if you grow a cutting here and put it in that greenhouse and take the same cutting and put it over in that greenhouse, you're going to have a different cannabinoid profile when they grow up. That's just crazy, isn't it? So if you wanted me to tell you what cannabinoid profiles I've got in a plant, I can't. But what I can do is I can make sure that we've got all 4 different types of terpene. That is, we want and I've got it, I'm almost there, and that is a sativa dominant auto crossed with a indica dominant auto crossed with an industrial hemp, because the auto has ruderalis. So you're going to have all of the 4 terpenes in there, which combination from the jungle through to the temperate up to the polar region. You're going to have all of those things. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing, okay, by the way. All right? I'm just doing it, yeah. And it's only because I don't know what is the best thing to do, so I may as well do everything. And no one can tell me what the best thing to do is. I do a lot of research, and I can tell you that there's peer-reviewed papers saying that it doesn't do anything at all. There's peer-reviewed papers saying that it just does everything. What I've found is that it cures cancer, it doesn't cure cancer, it does this, and it doesn't do that. It's dependent on the human that you're working with and what cannabinoids they're happy with. I don't know. Anyway, that's the first thing I want to talk about. I want to make feminized seeds. Does anyone know how to make feminized seeds in here? Okay, so what you've got to do is you get yourself a cannabis plant, you get, say, half a dozen seeds and you get 3 males and 3 females, maybe. What you do is you get a thing called colloidal silver. Now, colloidal silver, you make it, I make it myself because it's so easy, but you can go and buy it from the chemist shop, and the chemist shop won't be any good at all because it's run by some bloody idiot that takes 40 parts per million and puts more water in it, makes it 20 parts per million, and it won't work. So you make it your own self, and what you do is you get a jar. All right, and at the top of the jar, you go and buy from a jeweler a length of silver wire and have them about that. You only need about 10, 15 centimetres of silver wire. Make a little drill hole in there, bit of plaster, whatever it is, just to hold it so that it doesn't touch the sides if it's metal, and it doesn't really matter if it's plastic. But so you put that in there, and fill it up with water. Then what you do is you go and get 3 9-volt batteries. 3 9-volt batteries. And this is really, really simple. You just join up so that you end up with 27 volts. So you do, oh, did I leave that? No, I didn't. Here it is. So you can come and have a look at this at the end. All right, everyone can come and have a look. That's just how it's set up. It goes positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, and out to each one of these clips goes on there. That comes off this. And what happens is that the silver just disintegrates into a thing called a colloid, and it's called colloidal silver. So when you get it to about this colour, that'll be about 300 parts per million, it's far too much. It doesn't really matter. What you do is you go up to your plant, which you know you've just seen the first white hair come out. Don't do it after that. It's just as soon as you can identify that it's a female, you spray, you put some of this in a spray bottle and you spray the bottom branch. And come back a week later, and if it doesn't look as though it's had a little bit of a hiding, give it another spray. And then you start to see it curl up just a little bit. That's all you need to do. That then changes the hormonal, whatever it does inside the plant, it's LGBTIQ, whatever and it changes a female into a male, right? So that male there has male pollen, and it will fertilise itself, and you'll get an exact replica of that plant. I don't do that because sometimes you get hermaphrodites, and hermaphrodites are no good. So what I do is I get my branch there, but right next to it I've got another plant which is exactly the same, a cutting or exactly the same as that, or I've got another female there called Gorilla Glue or a White Widow or whatever. You can do anything else, but that pollen that comes from the plant that I've sprayed with colloidal silver, it's a female plant I've sprayed with colloidal silver. When I first see the fact that it's a female, that can only produce a female seed. And if I've got a Jack Herer and I've sprayed that, then I've got a Gorilla Glue over there, I'm going to get a half breed between a Jack Herer and a Gorilla Glue. I don't know what it's going to look like, feel like, taste like, I don't know. But it's going to be a female seed. So it's feminized. That's all you have to do to get feminized seeds. So back in the 70s, we did things a bit differently. We used to use a thing called colchicine. Now, colchicine is it's an old-time cure for gout. Anyway, colchicine, if you soak seeds in colchicine, or 10%, what we used to do is do a 10% solution of colchicine for an hour. 20% for an hour, 30% colchicine for an hour, right up to 100% for an hour. Go and plant them in the different pots, and every now and again a bloody seed would come up, and mostly in one of the type of whether it was a 20 or 40 or 60%, it varied. But up comes these plants that have been soaked in colchicine, and instead of a diploid, and a diploid is where your marijuana plant comes up and gives you 2 leaves, right? This comes up and gives you 3 leaves. It's like Superboy or something, or Supergirl, you know. So there's a new cannabinoid that they've found, and I think from actually smoking this back in the 70s, I think that this new cannabinoid is very prevalent in the triploids. That's what I think, because in 78 I grew this triploid and I lost it. It was along the fence, and I grabbed it one day because I thought, oh my God, I've got a bloody couple of days and I've got to fly to Singapore. So right, tried to roll it up. It was just a piece of stick with all this resin on it. I tried to roll it up. It was just bloody hopeless. So I finally got a block, and I blocked it out, and I smoked it, and then I put this joint down. I couldn't find it for 2 days. And this stuff was so strong that I could not believe how strong. I've never had anything as strong again. So, and I don't know what it's going to do for disease, but I'm just letting you know that there is now THCP, and I think that this, if you make triploids, you're going to get a lot of this THCP in it, because it knocks your ass over turkey. And I don't know how good the medicinal value of it is at all. I don't know. It's only just been discovered a week ago or something. All right, so now, are there any questions so far? Who? For granulizing it? Oh, yeah, no, I have heard of the different types of machines. I haven't heard of that one. And what do you... Okay, how much does it cost? $1,000. That's not too bad, is it? So what I do is I make these seeds, feminized seeds. Anybody who wants to come and collect seeds, get some seeds. They're $10 each, and they're all feminized, and they're either 3/4 autos, which it's getting late in the year, so I don't want to give anyone pure autos, because it's just getting too late in the year for that. But 3/4 autos, half autos, and blue cheese is what I've got. Those are the 3 types of seed that I have, if anyone wants to buy any. Yes, so what Dr. Pott was saying was quite true about all of these things which are facing us, except our perception about what things are happening is completely been derailed by this stuff here. So no matter what the subject is, if it's got anything to do with this here, the subject is going to be shagged, okay? You're just not going to get the right truth anywhere. That's just how it works. And you saw what happened with that hemp plastic, and hemp plastic is very easy to make, by the way. All you do is get a big tub, get the centre part of the thing, the herd, you smash it up to like powder, like flour, put it in the tub of water, put some lemon juice in there, big 12-volt battery on one side, on the other, with some electrodes, and the hemp plastic goes one way, and the sort of, it's a ceramic material, goes the other way. And that's all it is. It's not bloody rocket science. The thing about hemp is that everything that you do with it is really, really simple to do. And they've been doing it for thousands of years, so they understand that it's simple. And it is very, very simple. Yeah.
What's the shelf life of a seed?
Okay. So if you grow seed and it grows from when it first gets fertilised and it grows 4 weeks, you get a little bit of white seed. That's not much good. You get a little bit of a dark seed. That's not much good. If you leave it for 5 weeks, you get reasonable seed. If you leave it for 6 weeks on the plant, you get almost black seed, and normally with stripes on it, and it's quite sizable. They can last for up to 10, 15 years. But the ones that are only 5 weeks old when you pick them, they won't last more than about 3. And the ones that are white, well, they might germinate this year, yeah. Yeah, that's all I can tell you about that. Someone told me that I had terrible seeds, so I planted 90 and 91 came up. So there you go. I just miscounted, obviously. So I think I might leave it at that, and I'll be back tomorrow sometime, and I'm not sure what time it is because we don't get told until the next day. I'll be outside and around, and anybody who wants to get some seed off me, I'll be there, and just knock me on the head and I'll respond. All righty? All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.